there. There we go. Three, two, and one. Well, Mayor Zacher, welcome back to Mayor's Monday here at WSAU, WSAU.com. Uh, Spring has sprung in the city, as the old cliche goes. Like they say, you've got the pastels on
Yeah,
today.
yeah,
Very appropriate, very seasonally appropriate,
yeah. I'm still in Easter mode. Yep.
I would say. But you've also got why not? You've got a brand new city council to work with, right?
Yeah, it's not there's only one that changed over. So
Okay.
Mike Tim is going to be the new councilman, and so we're excited about that. Again, it's always everybody's got their own flavor, their own personality, so it's new ones come in and it changes it up a little bit. But for the most part, the other seven will kind of keep some stability there. But again, it's always good to change it up. I think that's why the system is a good. I've grown to understand it and appreciate it over the last 4 years. So
Yeah, and you had the reorganizational meeting last week. You tell us just exactly how things have shaken out that now that you've reshuffled the deck, or I guess did it? Are you still kind of working with as you mentioned the same uh, group of committees and things like that, and have stability that way?
yeah, I reached out to everybody, talk, and just kind of see where they're at. Everybody was pretty comfortable. So Patrick Delaney was the one that left. He was on finance and property and human resources. So Mike took his seat on finance and property, and then Jake Catna took there's only one alderman that takes two seats, and so he's on the human resource committee now. So, and he's got the most uh, seniority, I guess, longevities, and he's he's good. He's good at what he does. Asks a lot of questions. So yeah, it'll be nice to have everybody in there and have that again stability that they kind of wanted to keep working in those same committees and making progress. So we're excited to kind of start the new year up. We had a little orientation, which everybody kind of appreciated because there's a lot more to being on a council and what you can and can't do and what you got to be careful with the open meetings and walking quorums and all that. So it was good to kind of refresh on that. And I think everybody appreciated that for the most part.
Yeah, the one thing I always say, and this is just me working in an office setting,
Yeah.
remember that reply all button on your email is not to be touched,
Yeah.
only
Yeah.
in rare circumstances. So, how many times do you find yourself reminding alders or anybody in city government to be careful of the reply all button?
Yeah. Reply all, or even just, running into someone outside of a meeting and saying hello. And like you really can't say anything at all about, I got myself in a pickle a few years ago just by, you know, talking briefly with somebody. I don't remember specifically, but somebody else heard it and they kind of, put up the big warning sign. And I was like, oh, I never really thought about it. So now I just don't talk at all, don't bring it up at all, and it's good. And the reply all is another one that you just don't want to make the mistake. I mean, typically it's going to be like I have not seen in my tenure yet where anyone's asking for votes or like trying to do that. If anything, they're just trying to understand better. But I've, like I said before, grown to understand why we run the way we run. And, if we're having conversations, it should be open to the public and that how we get to the end result should be apparent to everybody so that it's not, thinking that it's behind closed doors and it's, whatever that is, the more transparency we have, the better. And the more we're communicating directly with the residents and businesses, the better. So we've been working really hard in the last year. Hard to believe it's been a year already.
Mm-hmm.
We're building a more expansive communication department, getting a new website set up so we have the ability to connect with the residents and they can communicate with us more efficiently. Try to get out on everybody's phones. Our old website is a more computer oriented because it's an older website. But also doing communication videos, more podcasts, a little bit like what we do here. Just we have a studio for it. So we're getting, the department heads more interactive, letting people know who they are and what's going on so people know who we are instead of thinking that it's all happening behind closed doors. So it's good. We're getting some good positive feedback on it and looking forward to continuing the programs.
So as far as communication goes, that's I guess one goal for the new council, which is going to be for the next couple of years. What else would you like to see the city really taking on as far as those kind of 2-year projects type going, whether that's development or any other goal that the city may have?
Yeah, we just got done with a pretty expansive, like we started out talking with the department heads about mission, vision, values, and just updating those and making sure that we're current with who we are as an organization and what the community wants from us. So we ended up talking with the department heads, and then we went to all the employees, about 230 employees, which then brought us to the council, and we all agreed to take it to the community then. So we just finished our community-wide survey, and the things they talked about are the important stuff, the infrastructure, the roads, getting those services done as fast as we can, which is always a broader conversation because we really are going as fast as we can with the money that you have to spend every year. But that's a big one. And then the transparency of, so they know what we're doing, and they know we're working hard on getting them the information. So we're more connected and working as a team, as a community, not us versus them and all that stuff. So it was really good. So we're bringing it back to the council this in May, kind of finalize the mission, vision, values. So we have a very transparent way of knowing what our mission is and moving forward accordingly. So we look forward to that. Been a long process.
And in the more immediate future, as we're recording this, we're just a couple days out from May. I know No Mo May is something that's kind of caught on in Wisconsin Rapids. Whether how much good it does or not, that is up for debate, depending on which side of the aisle or which side of the issue that you are on. But it's still something that right now you are offering the opportunity for to residents, correct?
Yeah, we brought it to the council because it's a proclamation, but at the same time, it's not something that I started. So if the support wasn't there, then I didn't necessarily have to do it. And there was enough conversation around, if it's not really working, can we shift to like a wildflower garden, or small areas or patches that allow the grass to grow longer, or just go into a 8 or 9 inch length versus having to cut it at 7 inches. I think the biggest concern was just people taking advantage of it. And then especially last year we had, the most rain we've ever had in a 2 month period, and it just grew like crazy.
Yeah.
So that you're dealing with a field more so than grass. So I think, but in the end, we brought it to the council, and they talked it through and agreed that they wanted to move forward with it as is. So we will do another No Mo May and see how things go and talk about it again next year.
And you brought up a great point there with maybe even just planting some more pollinating plants, some more flowers in public spaces, things like that. If you've ever been to Minneapolis, to the sculpture park near downtown, that's one thing that the city has done there. They will put signs out on the walking trail that says these are the plants that we have put out in this area, and this is why, because we have these pollinators in the area that that like these plants. So don't be surprised if you see bees in this area. Is that something that the city would go to? Maybe not on the scale that Minneapolis or other cities have done, but on a smaller scale.
Yeah, I think they would. Again, we kind of talked about, and some of those ideas came and went a little more quickly. Um, but it's a new council again too, so it depends. It always strikes me interesting that usually the first part of conversations is usually what gets the vote. So if it veers towards, well, it's been okay and it does this and that, and everybody's like, well, I don't necessarily have strong feelings either way. So I think it
Hmm.
just went through, and again, we'll kind of see if how things go, if it's getting more out of control, or if it's a more tame wet season. If it's not quite so wet, then maybe it won't be quite an issue. It would be nice though if as soon as May's over, everybody just cuts it down and gets rid of it. And that's usually another complaining point is, people, it turns into no more June.
Hmm. Yeah, continue to not mow the lawn in June. I believe is what Mayor Wiesa in Stevens Point would call it. And at that point, yes, you are subjecting yourself to a municipal fine. So if people want to participate in No Mo May this year in Wisconsin Rapids, how do they do that?
Yeah, we started out having to register and get a sign, so they had it. But then I think 2 years ago we stopped we stopped requiring that. So right now, everybody who wants to participate in Omo May, they just go right ahead and do it, and then clean it up in June and move forward. So.
So next up, I know you've just brought in a new municipal library director as well. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I just actually came from, well, it's kind of meeting after meeting after meeting, but sometime today I had a meeting with the new director, Heather, and she is fantastic. So we're very excited. She's got a lot of the great qualifications that we need and personal attributes that will, I think, appease a lot of the board members and the council in terms of the funding that we're putting in. We have a very big library with a very big budget, and it's been some controversy since I've been on the council about, how can we bring this a little bit more in line with the size of the city without all the extra money that was being pumped into it from, possibly the mill and the people that were, funding it. Right now, it's all mostly on the city and the county, of course, and their funding model. So we love our library. We want to see it grow. We're doing some great programming there, and I'm sure that will continue on. Great maker space. We have a nice theater in there. So it is great. And we look forward to having Heather come on board and work with us and keep building it into the great facility that it's always been.
So for those that don't know about the library, because there are some people out there that just do not set foot in there unless they absolutely have to. Let us know what it is about this facility that you're so proud of in Wisconsin Rapids.
Well, I think for the most part, it's a beautiful building, and that's what draws people in. But since I was a younger father, I guess, when we had kids when they were younger, I know Jenny, my wife, used it probably more than I did, but I certainly have great memories going there, getting books. But then there's always the games that we played and the theaters that we went to and the shows we watched, and they do the artwork from the different schools. We go there and participate in the programs. Got a lot of videos from there over the years. They got, like I said, this maker space that came a little bit later, but they're building that into the program. So it's like everything. It's not just a library. It's like a community center, that really taps into everything that could be needed. It definitely helps, kids that maybe don't want to stay at home in between their parents working, so they have a place to go and do homework. And then anybody else in the community that needs to, a place to be that they can read and just have some quiet time. So it's been very valuable for the community, and we appreciate everything everybody's done to build it to what it is now and carrying it forward.
I'm sure you'll have a hard time believing this, but the day that I brought home my first baseball encyclopedia from the library in
Yeah,
Parkston, South Dakota, that was a big day. I
yeah.
went through that. That went through that thing. I was looking up statistics and numbers there all over. I'm sure that's very hard for you to believe.
No, no, I can see that.
Yeah, it's always you never utilize it enough. You never realize just how much is there sometimes. So I've always would tell people, if you've got free access to the library, because we had to pay in South Dakota. We lived outside the city limits.
Uh,
So we had to pay for that library card annually. Certainly get in there and use it because there is a lot to be had there, and a lot of good that you can find out of it. Well, Mayor
yeah.
Zacher, we always appreciate the time, and we'll look forward to chatting again next month.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. Have a great night.